All right, we are here for a week one recap, maybe a little week two preview for our Sons of Saban League. Going strong, I believe, over a decade now. So good to see that keep going. Good to see my Saints scoring 47 points in their opener. So let's dig right into the recap. Um, so the first matchup we had last week, we'll go ahead and start with mine and Richard's. I believe this is the first time I've beaten Richard in years. It's been a long ass time since I beat Richard in this league. Um, so I think the takeaways we can get from this: Rasheed Rice not going to get suspended. Uh, pat myself on the back for my knowledge of the criminal justice system. So that worked out. Really liking my Joe Mixon pick too as my third running back. Definitely terrified what the Jordan Love injury is. The impact that's going to have on my team. But at least I've got some. I've got David Montgomery to start. Khalil Shakir, I really like. I think he'll end up being the number one receiver in Buffalo by the time's all said and done. Jordan Mason. Hopefully Christian McCaffrey stays out, and hopefully I get to plug him in. Or make a trade. Make me a trade if somebody wants a fantastic handcuff to Christian McCaffrey. And clearly the 49ers have not been truthful. They said he was healthy the entire summer. An emergency scratch before the first game. Can't be a good sign. This may be one of his injury years. So make me an offer. On Richard's side, he kind of got screwed by Brandon Ayuk not being in camp the entire summer. He looked out of shape, out of sorts, and just looked bad, basically. Joe Burrow also similarly looked bad. I love it when Joe Burrow sucks. Really don't like that guy. Really nice to see him struggling. He's faced the least pressure he's ever faced in his career and still had the lowest depth of target of his career in any game ever, showing that he's playing like a scared little bitch. Um, Kind of sucks for the game plan with Dalton Kincaid too, another guy that the Bills organization was plugging pretty hard this whole offseason. Only came up with 1.6 points. On the good side, Stephon Diggs looks like the old Stephon Diggs, so that's good for Richard. Tyreek Hill overcame the arrest scare and had 22.5 points. Could have had more pretty easily. Glad he didn't. But Richard's team's good. Is built to last. If he can find a quarterback, or if Joe Burrow gets over his yips, I think Richard's going to be a good team. I think he's going to be in the playoffs by the time's all said and done. I'm just glad I got him in the first week. Second matchup we had was Butler PA Rifle Team. That's Alex Piola versus Mai Njigba. That's James Reineke. Obviously, this is a blowout by Piola. Don't understand his team name, but whatever. Jaden Daniels turned out to look great. I think Piola waited till the absolute last minute to pick a quarterback. It looks like he picked a good choice, at least for the first week or so. Alvin Kamara also looked pretty good. Kind of surprisingly, it looks like our woes were at least somewhat due to Pete Carmichael. I'm glad to see some Clint Kubiak action. Actually, see some creativity and pre-snap motions for the Saints. It was great to see again. I like the rest of Piola's team too. Obviously, pretty much just loaded. I like all of his team. James Reineke, I like the quarterback and the running backs. Gotta hope that Jamar Chase, kind of the same thing as Ayuk. It's not gonna help the first part of the season when you've sat out your contract and haven't practiced with your team in the slightest, and now you're hurting your team by not having chemistry with your quarterback. Not good. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. It looks like he's going to have a huge role this year. Gotta hope for your sake, James, that Pittman and Dell get going a little bit. They're supposed to be, at least Pittman for sure was supposed to be the number one target for Indianapolis, but we'll see. Next matchup, we have Unburdened by 10,000. Really long name. Unburdened by 10,000 Penixes. Taylor. Olave you long time. James Nash. Taylor won this one pretty handily. If Devon Achane can stay healthy, he's the best second running back in the league. Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp, the rumors of their demise were greatly exaggerated. Drake London, still not ready to buy the hype yet. I'm still not ready to buy the hype on Atlanta, especially wide receivers. But I'm sure you know that. If I were you, Taylor, and I mean this is hindsight obviously, but Brian Robinson had a great game. J.K. Dobbins looks like he's pretty involved in the Chargers backfield as well. There's some potential flex options there if you're looking for any. Nash's team. I like Nash's team actually more so than I have previously. Interesting that he has both Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts. That played into my decision to reach for a quarterback early. Top 10 quarterbacks being snapped up at such a rate. I like his team, though. Bijan Robinson is going to be great. Aaron Jones looked like the old Aaron Jones. Olave and Nico Collins. Olave is going to get better as the season goes on. I can't believe he only had 2.1 points, especially with all those points scored. 47 points, and he only got 1.6 or 16 yards. It's crazy. Looks like he avoided an injury to Jake Ferguson. Apparently, he's magically healthy. Going to play against the Saints this week. DJ Moore, the curse of the bad offenses. I don't think he's ever played on a good offense, but he's a talented player. For James, I would definitely think about switching up Anthony Richardson and I don't know. Maybe try to find a trade partner for Anthony Richardson. Maybe try to find me as a trade partner because I need a quarterback for the next 3 weeks. So hit me up, James. I like Taylor's team. I think he'll probably be well into the playoffs by the end of the year. Next matchup we have Nakua Matata, Andrew Corbin, and maybe this year Greg Thorne. I like Corbin's team. Unfortunately, that means that every one of his players is going to get injured. It started already this year with Puka Nakua going out for at least the next 4 weeks. Just bad luck. It sucks. Saquon looked incredibly good, so that's helping Corbin out. James Cook looks like a good second running back as well. Devontae Smith is going to be a good second wide receiver, but you need a number one, and I'm not seeing it on your team at the moment. Just going to have to limp through these next few weeks. Hopefully you get Puka back soon. Travis Kelce looked a little washed, but I'm sure he'll catch some touchdowns. The NFL is very invested in him having a good season. So look for more points on the horizon there. George Pickens, exceedingly talented. Just got to worry about the quarterback. I think he's appropriate in the flex position. Definitely would be thinking about Jerome Ford in the flex position as well if I'm Corbin next week. Greg, love the running back Ramondre Stevenson. The Patriots somehow I can't believe he got that many attempts. I guess it's because Cincinnati looked horrible. St. Brown should get better involved, but I can't lie. It'd be pretty scary seeing Jameson Williams break out for like 130 yards and a couple touchdowns. It's got to be scary watching that for your number one wide receiver. DK Metcalf going to get his as well. Sam Laporta, love that pick. Zay Flowers, also love that pick. He's very shifty. I got him confused with Zay Jones, and that's why I didn't draft him in a couple leagues either. I'm kind of kicking myself. So I think both of these teams are better, are good. Just see what happens next week. Last matchup we have, we had this past week, 2 girls, 1 cup, Nicholas Piola, Corb Kryptonite, Alan Chang. Alan Chang won this one pretty handily. I like Chang's team. The running backs, he's got Rashad White and Javonte Williams, kind of underwhelming perhaps, but his wide receivers are incredible. Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, and it's got a lot of good wide receivers there. So I think Chang's going to be a good team this year as well. For Nick, got to suck with the games played with Christian McCaffrey. I'd be pretty pissed if I were you. You know, the NFL created more stringent rules, they said, about injury disclosure and injury designation, and then the first week you get fucked over by the best player in football not playing. So that sucks for you. But next time, be a little more cognizant of the news and switch somebody else in there. because you could have won if you had substituted never mind. I don't think you could have won, but it would have been closer. Like your team, though, if Christian gets healthy, Kenneth Walker is going to be great. Marvin Harrison, not sure why he was drafted so high in fantasy or in real life. I think he's overrated. Time may tell on that one. Gonna have to go looking for a tight end too, probably. All right, so let's get into next week. I'll be quick about it. First matchup we have Richard, I Am the Walrus versus Taylor's Unburdened by 10,000 Phoenixes. This is going to be our closest matchup, or at least by projected points, going to be our closest matchup of the week. So Richard's got Joe Burrow at quarterback. Taylor's got Kyler Murray. Definitely like Kyler Murray here better. He looked good, looked fast. That offense has got to score some more points. I just think it's a matter of time. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, is going the other way. I think he's choking, getting the yips, just kind of declining as a player, or at least I hope he is. Nothing against you, Richard. I just don't like Joe Burrow. So I like Kyler Murray better, like Taylor's quarterback. Running backs, we've got Isaiah Pacheco and Derrick Henry for Richard, Breece Hall and Devon Achane for Taylor. If Achane's healthy, I like Taylor's running backs. I think Breece is a huge breakout candidate, especially against a shitty Tennessee defense. Devon Achane might be the most explosive running back in the league when he's healthy. Not to say Richard's running backs are bad. I like both of them too. I just think that Taylor's are more explosive. For wide receivers, Richard's got Tyreek and Brandon Ayuk. Taylor's got Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp. I like Tyreek obviously better than both of Taylor's, but I like both of Taylor's better than Ayuk. Tyreek has been the best wide receiver in fantasy for quite a while at this point. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp, both pretty old, but both showing they still got it. Ayuk, showed up fat and out of shape and looked like shit, basically. So what happens when you're selfish about your contract, I guess. Just hurts your team. At tight end, they've got Dalton Kincaid for Richard and Evan Ingram for Taylor. I think I would have put Kincaid solidly over Ingram until last week when I think Kincaid got thrown like one ball for like 16 yards. So, I'll call this a wash at best. Ingram got... Ingram got at least 4 targets, which is better than Kincaid can say, I think. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking this up. I'm just kind of interested. Yeah, Kincaid only got 2 targets. It's rotten for what was supposed to be the most targeted player on the team, at least listen to the coaches. Flex, so far at least, we've got Stephon Diggs for Richard and J.K. Dobbins for Taylor, so it sounds like Taylor already had the same idea as I did. Stephon Diggs looked like his old self, and plus the Houston offense is going to be really good this year. I'm really high on them. They're playing against a shitty defense in Chicago. J.K. Dobbins is also playing against a shitty defense. I'll probably take Stephon Diggs just because of the potential of the offense there. The Chargers are not as high-powered offensively as they have been in the last couple seasons. For defenses, Richard's got the Ravens at home against Las Vegas. Taylor's got the Chiefs against Cincinnati at home. Like the Ravens, I think they've got a more talented defense, and they're playing against a worse opponent. Chiefs are very good too, and Cincinnati seems to be on the way down. So I do see this being an extremely close matchup. I think it's going to depend on Achane. If Achane's healthy, I'd probably give the edge to Taylor. If Achane doesn't end up playing, or is on a workload management situation, I think I probably like Richard. Next one we have Andrew Corbin, James Reineke. This one, Reineke is currently favored by about 6 points. Quarterback, we got Josh Allen for Reineke and C.J. Stroud for Corbin. This is the battle of the styles. Do you prefer the pocket passer or the runner? Probably give the edge to Josh Allen because he can just kind of take over a game when he wants to. Haven't seen that from Stroud. Maybe I just haven't been watching enough. Running backs, Ronicke's got Jameer Gibbs, Najee Harris, and Corbin's got Saquon and James Cook. Probably going to give the edge to Corbin. I think Jameer Gibbs and Saquon are both very high level running backs, but I give Cook the edge over Harris. He's on a better offense and seems to be shiftier, at least at this point in his career. Wide receivers, Corbin's got Pittman and Tank Dell. Or I'm sorry, Reinecke's got Pittman and Tank Dell. Corbin's got Devontae Smith and George Pickens. These kind of are washes. I don't see any of these guys as a real number one wide receiver. Frankly, I wouldn't want any of those guys as my number two wide receiver really either, except for maybe Devontae. So I'll probably go with Corbin on these just because it's slim pickings there. The battle of the perhaps washed tight ends. Mark Andrews looked pretty washed last week. Isaiah Likely went crazy. Almost had another touchdown too. Travis Kelce also looked a little washed. I'll give the edge to Kelce just because I trust Mahomes more than Lamar Jackson. At flex, James is starting Jamar Chase at the moment. Corbin is starting Jerome Ford. I'll give the edge to Ford, and the only reason is because Ford actually showed up to camp and played with his team, and Jamar Chase, showed up to practice in street clothes and yucked it up and didn't practice, and it showed on the field, and they lost. Just think it's kind of selfish and don't think he's going to be the difference maker when they play the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Defense, Reinecke's starting the Browns defense against Jacksonville at Jacksonville. At least now, Corbin's starting the Bengals at Kansas City. I can't really evaluate this at the moment. I have to think Corbin's going to change that up. Corbin's got an empty spot on his bench as well, so I guess he's probably going to put in a waiver claim to pick somebody up. As far as anybody else that I would play, Reinecke, if I'm you, I'm thinking about if you really are sold on Chase playing, I'd put him up in your wide receiver slots, and then perhaps think about Jaylen Warren. I don't know. I've probably got. I think I have Corbin winning this one. He's not favored, so I'm picking against the grain here. But I think Corbin takes this one. Next one we have Butler PA Rifle Team. Alex Piola. Matchup of the brothers. This is probably our most lopsided so far matchup. Quarterback, Alex is rolling out Jaden Daniels. Nicholas is rolling out Dak. Jaden is playing against the Giants, and he looked pretty good last weekend. So I guess we'll see. I watched Jaden Daniels run roughshod over our defense for God knows how long. So I'll probably take Jaden. I just don't like Dak. And he's playing like somebody who, didn't really have the team in mind either. So I'll take Jaden Daniels, controversial pick, but whatever. Dak's the highest paid player of all time, which is just ludicrous, but whatever. Running backs, we've got Alex has Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. Nicholas has got McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker. If Nicholas's running backs were healthy, I'd obviously pick his. McCaffrey's awesome. Nothing needs to be said about him. Kenneth Walker looked great too. He looked great. But so did Alvin. Alvin looked good. Playing with a new offensive coordinator, so hopefully he'll keep it going against the Cowboys as well. I'll give the edge to Alex if one or more of Nicholas's running backs are out. Wide receivers, Alex has CeeDee Lamb and Deebo Samuel. Nicholas has Devontae Adams and Marvin Harrison. Both of Alex's better than both of Nicholas's. Just don't trust anything about the Raiders, never have, and I can't believe Marvin Harrison was so high on people's draft boards, both in real life and fantasy. Tight ends, Alex has Kyle Pitts. Nicholas has David Njoku. Kyle Pitts scored his first touchdown. I don't know if I've ever seen him score a touchdown before. So good for him. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. But Kirk Cousins did not look good either. Really looked to be hobbling on that right leg. Doesn't look like he can plant and drive the ball down the field. But maybe that's good for Pitts and Bijan if he can't go deep very often. Njoku got hurt at the end of last game, I believe. He's week to week. It sounds like he's probably not going to play. So if I'm Nicholas, I'm definitely hitting the waiver wire because my other tight end is currently on IR, Hawkinson. He's not coming back anytime soon. So definitely hitting the waiver wire hard if I'm Nicholas. At flex right now, we've got Alex with Jalen Waddle and Nicholas with Calvin Ridley. Waddle at this point in his career is the more consistent fantasy asset. So yeah, I like Waddle. Alex is starting the Cowboys defense at home versus New Orleans. Nicholas is starting the Eagles at home versus Atlanta. I'd love to hype up my Saints, but this past week seems a little fluky. So I'll probably give the Cowboys the edge. The Saints have one of the worst offensive lines ever, and that is not a good matchup with Micah Parsons. Let's see. Looking at our benches here. Interesting stuff on Piola's bench. He's got a stacked, loaded team. James Conner is always going to get you about 10 points at least. Raheem Mostert, I guess we'll see if he's healthy. Xavier Worthy, you motherfucker. I wish I'd gotten him. I got him in literally every other league except for this one. You motherfucker. So, I mean, a couple more weeks like that, and I don't see how you keep him on the bench either. You're going to have to really prioritize your wide receivers and maybe start making some trades or something like that. But anyway, I like Alex Piola in this brothers matchup. Next one we have is Olave You Long Time with James Nash, maybe this year with Greg. Quarterback Jalen Hurts for James, Lamar Jackson for Greg. Lamar seems a little dinged up. Lamar is also going against the Raiders. I like Lamar. I think he's probably pissed off, probably wants to win this one pretty bad. Jalen, I kind of feel like it's not to this same level, but I definitely feel like last year's playoffs kind of gave teams the blueprint to beat Jalen, kind of like LSU did back when he was in college. So I'm a little more bearish on his prospects long term. Lamar Jackson's electric, like him, so I'm going to take Greg's quarterback. Running backs, we got Bijan and Aaron Jones for James, Kyron Williams and Ramondre Stevenson for Greg. Greg's homer pick worked out last week because the Patriots actually got a good game script and got to run against the Bengals. Can't see that happening much this year, though, because they are just woefully bad. And, Kyron Williams lost 3 starting offensive linemen last game as well. So probably going to take James's running backs over Greg's. Wide receivers, we've got Chris Olave, Nico Collins for James, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf for Greg. Got to be concerning if I'm Greg because Amon-Ra St. Brown was a number 1 wide receiver last year, and he just watched as Jameson Williams got about 120 yards and I think a couple touchdowns too. So got to be concerning for you there. Got to hope that that's matchup dependent for you. Olave, kind of the same deal. Was supposed to be, it was very highly touted coming out this season, and Rashid Shaheed really just stole the spotlight from him. Just got to think better days are ahead. Nico Collins looks like a stud. I like that pick. Got a wide receiver 2 when you drafted Olave and a wide receiver 1 when you drafted Collins. So I think you're sitting pretty good. Tight ends, we got Jake Ferguson for James, Sam Laporta for Greg. It's obvious, no contest. Even if Jake Ferguson was healthy, which he's not, I'd be taking Laporta. Flex, DJ Moore for James, Zay Flowers for Greg. Again, I got Zay Jones and Zay Flowers confused and was shocked when a Zay went that high in the draft. But I like him. He looks twitchy and explosive. So I'll take Zay just because DJ plays with a rookie quarterback. As our defenses, we've got Dolphins against Buffalo on Thursday night for James, Saints against Dallas on Sunday for Greg. Uh, I have to assume that Greg is going to change out the Saints for the Jets, who are sitting on his bench. If he does that, I'm going to like the Jets way more than the Dolphins. So this one is actually a tough one. This is a projected 6 point spread, but I think it's going to be closer than that. Um, I'm going to take James to win this one. And then, last but not least, we've got the Screaming Felines, Thomas Gore, versus Corb Kryptonite, Chang. As our quarterbacks, somebody brought up that, I better hope that no Packers get injured. And then, of course, first fucking game of the season in fucking Brazil, Jordan Love goes down and is going to be out for several weeks, of course, because we just had to play a game in fucking Brazil. Anyway, so I got Jared Goff. Allen's got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, not even going to talk about that. Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon for me as my running backs. Rashad White and Javonte Williams for Chang. I like both of mine better than both of his. Rashad White is okay because he can catch, but he sure can't run. Javonte Williams is in a timeshare on a shitty team. So I like my running backs better. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson and Rashee Rice for me. Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown for Chang. Definitely like Chang's wide receivers better than mine, but not as much as you might think. Rashee Rice is going to catch a lot of balls, probably going to get in the end zone. Got to think Garrett Wilson's going to have a better day against Tennessee than he did against the 49ers defense, who's pretty good. Not as high on A.J. Brown either. I was kind of projecting Devontae Smith to have a breakout season this year. Didn't happen first week, but we'll see how it goes. Tight ends, I'm starting George Kittle at the moment, and Alan Chang is starting Trey McBride. I think that's kind of a wash. Both of them are, solidly second tier tight ends. Probably give the edge to Kittle because I do think he's more athletic when he gets the ball in his hands. Just gets it less. Our flexes at flex, I'm starting David Montgomery, Detroit running back. Had a huge overtime, really solidified a role there. Chang starting Malik Neighbors. I like David Montgomery better than Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors got a lot of talent, but he plays for a trash organization and a trash quarterback. Defenses are going to be keying in on him, but they are playing the Commanders, who do suck as well. So could get free, but I like David Montgomery and his consistency and what you're going to get out of him. Defenses, I'm starting the 49ers at Minnesota against Sam Darnold. Chang is starting the Steelers against Denver. Both of those are pretty good picks, both going against first-year starters for their team at least. Probably like the 49ers better just because I think they're more talented and at least take the ball away a little more often. So we'll see. On our benches, if I'm me, I don't know what to do with these Green Bay players until Jordan Love comes back. I mean, just if one of y'all fucking had to say it, god damn it. So yeah, waiting weeks for that. Brock Bowers, probably not going to start him over Kittle unless something crazy happens. Khalil Shakir, I think that's one of my sneaky awesome pickups, but I think he's going to end up being the number one wide receiver in Buffalo by the year's end. But I'm just not going to start him over Rashee Rice or Garrett Wilson at the moment. But Jordan Mason, if Christian McCaffrey stays out, I don't know how I'm going to keep him off the starting lineup either. So pretty excited about that. So y'all come to me with an offer for Jordan Mason. He looked pretty good, and I can't imagine McCaffrey. If he's hurt for the first week, I think this is one of those years. So overall, I think that the rest of my team will overcome my deficiency at quarterback, and I will sneak out of here with a win. So that's our league preview. I picked myself. I picked Taylor against Richard. I picked Cordman over Reineke. I picked Alex Piola over Nicholas Piola. And I picked James Nash over Greg. All right. That's the week one preview or week one recap and the week two preview. I will see y'all next week.